Good morning. So I'm almost to school, and I thought I would share my feelings this morning about being in a wheelchair for the next 2 days. I'm excited at the opportunity, but definitely anxious and nervous. I've been thinking a lot about feeling kind of out of control. I tend to be a very type A personality, and always thinking about and planning ahead and anticipating, and so that's been very challenging to think about the little things and how to plan my day, and how am I going to get in and out of the bathroom, and how am I going to navigate the hallways, and what are people going to think about me, and all those pieces, and feeling kind of out of control. So
There was a girl yesterday who said, "Oh, I wish I could be in a wheelchair," and I kind of wanted to stop her and say, "Wait a minute, you have a choice to do that." That's, like, for some folks, I'm sure they would love to have the choice too, to say, like, "Boy, I would love to walk today," and I just felt like that was extremely condescending and short-sighted to just say something like that.
A lot of the common questions were like, what happened? Are you okay? Or why are you in this chair? Students that know me, see me every day, that thought maybe I'd been injured. And I did respond to one student yesterday as I was feeling more empowered and maybe a little more arrogant in my confidence. A student who didn't know me but probably knew that I hadn't been in a chair before asked me what happened, and I was with Natalie, the principal, and we was kind of in passing, and I said, "Don't text and drive." And I kind of left him with this, and Miss Jager said to me, "Did you just say that?" And I said, "I did, because I'm now at this place where it's less about Jessica's project, and it's more about drawing attention and awareness to, we all make choices in our life, and those choices can have impact on who we are and who we become." And so
one student said to me, "Last year I asked another student randomly, would you look at me differently if I was in a wheelchair? And they said yes to me." And I had to stop and pause, and I could tell she was upset by that. And I thought, but you would be different. I would be different. And it's okay to acknowledge that. I don't think that you should look at them in a negative way, just realizing that that's a different experience. That's okay. It is different. And we need to acknowledge that and help where we can.
Like, as a school, we're not very wheelchair friendly. Like, just like the desks and maneuvering it, and like, especially in the classrooms, but in the drama room, like getting on stage, I know we have a lift, but that thing, it's loud and it's sketchy, and I did not like being on that thing. It was bad. Like, I've never been on it, but I've worked it like a ton of times, but being on it was totally different. It was a little scary.
And then also with the school structure, I learned that it is not at all set up for people that are in wheelchairs. Like, everything was very narrow, or the doors are super heavy and you have to open them from the opposite direction that would be convenient for a person in a wheelchair. And then my class this morning in Hansel's room, oh my god, it's like built-in lab benches in the classroom, so I had to go to a different seat than what I would usually have to, because they're very...
Going to the bathroom was horrifyingly bad. I can't even imagine how other individuals that are always in a wheelchair do it. I mean, the stall wasn't quite big enough. I pulled in, I was on the side, and I realized I couldn't pull myself up and over, so I had to reposition so I could stand up and pivot. Getting in and out of the door, the very first day when I brought down the chair from the office to the front door and tried to get into my classroom was a pathetic comedy of errors. It was the worst and funniest thing I'm sure anyone would have ever seen. I was fighting with the door, I was doing this, I was pushing, I was grunting, things were falling. That was no good. And then the other really funny thing was I was trying to go up the ramp into the 20s hall, and which is really, really hard. Like, wow, like you have to like, and I had some papers on my lap and they started to slide off, and so I immediately stopped and pushed my feet out, and I caught all the papers, but there I was, stuck in the middle of the ramp with my little arms shaking, and I'm like, I can't take both of my hands off because then I'll start rolling backwards, but I need my papers! It was a struggle.
Because like you would get like a lot of looks and stuff, and at times maybe like I felt maybe not equal to everyone, like there was something just missing, and I think I felt like inferior to others due to like the fact that they would look down upon me instead of like looking like at my eye level. They would first like look at the chair, they would notice like the I don't know, external things versus like the personality or something like that, you know.
They gave you like a level of sympathy that you didn't really need, where you're like, just because I'm in a wheelchair doesn't mean I'm any like I'm still okay, like I'm here to learn just like you guys, like I'm okay. But yeah, like when people are a lot nicer, they're also like a lot more sympathetic, which is nice, but it's also like they were just a little bit too sympathetic with it. It made you feel different.
I think you're looked at differently, definitely, because you're in a wheelchair and like they think that you need help with everything, but I mean, you could definitely do it by yourself too. It's just different. Yeah, you just do things differently, but you do the same stuff as everyone else. So it was a really cool experience.
People who have physical mobility issues are always problem solving how to overcome the challenges in their space. And what I didn't know is that makes when I see somebody who has a mobility issue, I should assume that they're very resourceful and very resilient, because I don't see those as somebody who doesn't have any mobility issues. I don't see those obstacles. I don't have to think about my physical space all the time. You know, I have, other challenges in my life or other obstacles in my life, but I don't have any physical ones. And so I didn't know how resourceful you have to be if you have a mobility issue, even to move around in space that is ADA compliant. So that was a good awareness to me to also realize the assets of people who are navigating space with mobility issues.
I learned that there is a lot more to being in a wheelchair than just wheeling around everywhere you go. And even that it's really difficult to stress just the like complete encompassment on your life that being in the wheelchair has.
But it's just like, regardless of whether a person's skin color or their sexual orientation or their disabilities or anything, like everybody's human. And it's just like, it's such an obvious conclusion, right? Like that. That's.
I will always vote to make things more wheelchair accessible from now on, because it shouldn't be that difficult or that hard for human beings to get around when they need more.
Thank you to you, Jessica Beers, for giving us the opportunity to literally be in your shoes and in many of our other students' shoes for a couple of days. That I think having the chance to be eye to eye with many of our students that are in wheelchairs and see real smiles, not only them seeing us in the hallways, but when we did our sit-in, our wheel-in yesterday, really seeing happiness, I think, was such a positive for me, and it really makes me think about who I want to be and what do I want to do with what I've just learned. I'm ready for next steps. I'm like, what can we do to change our culture and our societies?